So, the probability that we're not going to have these problems was 0%. So I'm glad we solved this in the beginning. Okay, jumping on my topic. So my intro part, first 10 minutes, is going to be just sharing with you a couple of news, right? News on BE-terna Group, news on partnerships and our offerings, and also some news on Click and Microsoft family. So just to start with news on us, on BE-terna, right? You probably know that now already for almost a year we are rebranded, and you don't know us by Adacta anymore, but by BE-terna. And since this merger with companies in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, we had that luck that we even, as you see, moved even more to the north on this map, opening new offices in Denmark and Sweden. Just an interesting point for you, one of those companies is actually focused in covering a worldwide network of partners. So for those of you who have operations worldwide or Europe-wide, right, it means that now we're going to be able to support you even more easily. Okay. Now moving to new partnerships and offerings, it's a kind of mix and match. So if you put this, what we do into some kind of timeline or a trend line, we're trying to become an end-to-end data partner for you, right? And we're trying to follow the path of Click and Microsoft, who are actually trying to do the same as our primarily partners on this journey. So speaking of that, the latest acquisitions that you maybe already heard of is Click's acquisition of Unity. It's also been running now for a little more than a year. It means that now we have an offering for real-time data replication and automatization of cloud data warehousing or cloud data lakes. You're going to hear a lot about this topic at 12 o'clock, right? On one of our slots. Then maybe it's not perfectly fit. It doesn't perfectly fit on this timeline. Maybe we could have combined them, but actually Azure Synapse Analytics has been already here with us also for roughly a year, and we're doing some heavy enablement to be able to actually help you also leverage those benefits that Azure Synapse as a one huge integrational platform for the end-to-end BI is going to offer you. And although these are the partners which are already well known, just let's say offering some new products for us, these things in the end, which come in the area of creating, exploring, and sharing analytics, are maybe a little bit new for you. So we have a couple of new partnerships. So one is with Inform. You maybe already heard that. We're offering this write extension. It's a really full-blown write-back solution for our Click customers, opening really a tons of new use cases, right? Setting approvals, tracking some processes, tracking changes and things like that. Then we end up to pure visualization, where we're actually partnering with two companies, right? Zebra BI and High Coordination. Basically, the main idea behind these two partnerships was to offer really a tier 1 visualization, complying to IBCS controlling standards primarily for our Power BI customers, where we go with Zebra BI, and for our Click customers, where we go with a High Coordination. Actually, these are two topics that you're going to be able to see and test yourself, if willing to, in afternoon slots, where we're going to have two hands-on workshops on separate links, one run by Zebra BI and the other one run by High Coordination, right? And the last one is K4 Analytics. We've been wondering around a lot with how to support you with your planning solutions. We still have a couple of projects on a corporate planner. Some of you might have heard of it, but actually now we decided to cover this, let's say, a mid-complex area of planning with a K4 Analytics tool, which can actually be embedded into a Click or embedded into a Power BI. And we really see it as a major benefit in supporting these planning processes, right? So having analytics and planning in the same screen. Yeah, that's actually in short. About some news on partnerships and, let's say, our offerings. And now, last 5 minutes before jumping into a panel discussion, we're going to talk about just some basic news. Of course, this is not a complete, comprehensive overview of everything new that happened in Click on Microsoft world, but we just decided that there are a couple of information which are pretty important for you here, right? So first one, and definitely by far the largest on Microsoft side, is Power BI Premium per user, right? It's a new licensing offering for Power BI, and it's actually what we've been expecting for a long time, and that licensing type is going to lower the gap between those famous Power BI Pro users, you know, or those, let's call them $10 a month users, and premium licensing, right, which was jumping into $5,000 per month for a basic premium package, so to call it. And now finally we have something in between. It's going to allow us handling much larger data models, up to 100 gigabytes and model size limits. And it's going to give almost all of the functionalities, and not to go into details, that are available also in premium model, right? Like automated machine learning, cognitive services, and low and no code data preparation. And the good thing is that model was supposed to become generally available, right? So GA, if you bump into these two letters somewhere, on 2nd of April at a price of $20 per users, right? So it's going to be either new users for $20 a month or just an upsell for a pro user that you already have for an extra $10 a month, right? So as I said, it's definitely not a whole list, but definitely most important coming from Microsoft side. And for those of you who are currently in the Click family, there are a couple of news that I'm going to run through. So one is we're experiencing end of perpetual license sales, right? So that means that after 1st of April, customers who are on perpetual licensing will not be able to expand their users also on perpetual model. They're going to be able to do it just on a subscription model. We already send you those informations. If you have any information, please feel free to reach us, you know, whenever, wherever. Second, really important point is this AMP, right? The modernization program. It's for our ClickU customers, so who've been with us for a long time, and making them actually eligible to acquire a ClickSense site with the same number of users and modernize their platform, right? Because really a lot of new stuff is going there. And also news on a ClickSaaS, right? It's definitely Click's go-to platform now, and it's available also for both of previous categories. So if you're willing to switch from perpetual, or you can do it right into a ClickSaaS, so with a $0 uplift. So it means it's going to allow you to offload your hardware infrastructure, right, and move to a really top modern platform. And now, just to sum it up, next thing that we're going to do now is we're going to have an amazing panel discussion. I'm going to introduce the panelists later on. Here, I've tried to help you with a couple of hashtags, you know, just to see roughly high-level topics that are going to be covered with each and every presentation, right? So if something pops up, you know, just to make sure that you run a presentation which is more important to you and most interesting. So in a panel, we're going to try to discuss roughly on digital transformation and data culture. Then we're going to have a topic covering AI, machine learning, sales forecasting, and inventory optimization. Božidar is going to present our solution. And then we're going to discuss about Power Platform, Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI, like the whole platform, with Christoph Geschlisser, our product manager from BE-terna. At 12 o'clock, as I mentioned, the data integration, data warehouse, data lake, cloud, SAP, enterprise level. So really Click data integration and signups for SAP customers. I mean, to be honest, not only for SAP customers, but you know, primarily. And I'm just going to wrap it up before turning you on to workshops about, you know, what's next, but you know, in some atypical way, hopefully. So now it's a time for our panelists to jump in. It's 10:15, so I managed it. So if Davor, Srečko, Jernea, and Matej are here, I'd kindly ask them to, you know, turn on their microphones. I'm going to switch off my share screen now because it's going to be less important. Okay. Yeah.
Hi, Milan.
Everyone is here.
Hi.
It's so good to see you. And Matej, you can just unmute yourself, and yeah, hopefully we're ready now. So first of all, really thanks a lot once again for jumping in on this. I hope we're going to have a nice discussion. Actually, you're going to discuss. I'm just going to ask questions, but that's okay. You probably have much more interesting stuff to say. Just to start with, before your introduction, Davor is a director of business intelligence and data management in Croatia Insurance. So our yet biggest insurance company in Croatia. Srečko Kovačević is business intelligence and data analytics, covers business intelligence and data analytics department at NIS. So I think by far the largest oil company in a Serbian market. And Jernej Potočnik is head of controlling at Wittersdorfer Group. So Jernej, welcome. And Matej Košmerl is managing director and in one of the entities and vice president in a NICE label, right? Thanks all once again for being here, and maybe just as an introduction, in a turn that I mentioned you, just a few words on yourself, your company, and a role, maybe in a minute, just to give our attendees a little better feeling about where you're coming from.
Sure. Thank you, Milan. So, can you hear me? Is it?
Yes.
Okay. So, my name is Srečko Kovačević, and I work in NIS Gazprom Neft. I work in a role of a BI expert in digital transformation and innovation department. As you may know, NIS Gazprom Neft is the largest oil and gas company in Serbia and one of the largest companies in Southeastern Europe.
Great. Davor, apologies.
So, Milan, can you hear me?
All good. I can hear you.
Okay.
Sorry for this.
Sorry about the problem. But thank you very much for having me on this great event. And yeah, short introduction from my side. Like I said, my name is Davor, and I work for Croatia Osiguranje for almost 14 years. My current position is head of BI division in the IT department. Beside IT, for 5 years, I was working for controlling department as well, and I in that hopefully was able to apply that knowledge to the BI projects within the company. And few words about the Croatia Osiguranje for those who are maybe not so familiar with the company. Like you said, it is the largest insurance company in Croatia. Croatia Osiguranje currently has in its portfolio, I think, more than 800,000 active clients. And even though it is one of the oldest brands in Croatia, it continuously demonstrates strong commitment to digital transformation and innovation.
Great. Yeah.
And that's basically from my side for the introduction.
Thanks a lot. Jernej, please.
Well, first, thank you for inviting me. My name is Jernej Potočnik, and I'm head of group controlling in Alpacem Group. We are very tightly cooperating with our IT departments, and maybe just a little bit of introduction about our group. Our group is located in Austria, our headquarters, and this is a big family business with several fields of business. So we have 5 big fields. 2 of them are pipes, producing of pipes. 1 is producing of lime, and the 4th is producing of cement and concrete. So I'm part of the cement and concrete production companies. My role is head of group controlling. We have factories in 3 countries, in Slovenia, Italy, and Austria. And actually, in our Alpacem group, we have 25 companies. So I'm heavily involved in implementation of BI tools, and also before in the implementation of ERP Navision software.
Great, thanks for that. We have a couple of questions for that coming on later on. Thanks a lot, Matej.
Yes, sorry, I lost connection. I cannot see you, but I guess you hear me, see me.
Yeah, everything's cool.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, my name is Matej Košmerl. I'm managing director of NICE, Slovenian company that was headquarter of NICE label, the global company, and I'm also responsible for the global team of technical services and IT. So I'm dealing with BIs for more than 10 years now. And what's interesting, I'm involved in both sides. So I'm power user manager on one side and building it for everybody else on the other side. Yeah. So what do we do at NICE label? Today, basically, nothing is produced and shipped without some sort of identification. You have identification on all the medicines in the hospitals, on people, and so on. So we help companies manage that better, so they can do it faster with less costs, with less mistakes. Which means that most of our business is global. We have more than 1,000 partners globally. We get 10,000 customers of any businesses of any size each year. So it's a lot of data, a lot of interesting data for BI.
Yeah, great. I mean, that introduction, that's actually why we have you here, right? Because I think it's going to be interesting for everyone to hear that. Now, since we're on you, maybe we can also start with the first question. That it is, I've heard that you already developed quite advanced sales analytics and reporting, and for a lot of companies, sales is just revenue and figures. So if you can just in 2 to 3 minutes, share with us how do you do this sales analytics and how did you manage to, run the business using it?
Yeah, I will laugh because, when you see advanced analytics, when we look at our BIs, we think, oh, so much more can be done. Yeah, but so basically we just we are just merging with American company, actually, our one of previous big competitors. And it's interesting to see how they approach to sales reporting. And now we got a little bit of reality check, and we see they don't use BI, they use traditional reporting and do the reports once a month, and I don't know, Salesforce built reports. So I can say, yeah, we do have some advanced stuff. First of all, we have more than one BI. For sales, for finance, management, technical support, and so on. Speaking of sales, we are merging data from different sources. Main sources are definitely invoices, but also leads, tech support tickets, other finance data, other product licensing data. So how to say, I think should go more in detail. Maybe the biggest thing is that we open our BI to everybody. The complete sales team globally can see everything, and data is refreshed 5 times per day. So we can see, on a daily basis, we can see what we sold globally, which products, which customers, in which industries, and all that. And there it just starts. And then all the sales guys have their self-reporting ability to do reports by different dimensions. They can observe trends, they can compare against their quota, they can see how they perform against the other salespeople. That's always sometimes, to have this kind of league tables and have competition between them. So yeah, I would say it's Sales BI, quite a big tool with 20 tabs. So,
Great. I think you did an amazing introduction for a question I have for you later on. So thanks for that. Jumping further on, Davor, for those of you who don't know, Croatia Insurance developed or pushed to the market Lako, which translates to easy in Croatian. It's actually first 100% digital insurance product, so to say, on the market, and yes. You can cover everything from registration to a claim using your mobile phone. Now I've covered registration. Hopefully I will not have to cover the claim, so I'm not sure if it's going to work. But maybe Daud, just to share quickly from your side, how intensive was that from data perspective, right? I mean, for you as a head of department, how data intensive is this? Because it's really, one-on-one digitalization project, if we speak about it.
Yes, so I hope that you can hear me right now, so no problems with microphone. Okay, then, yeah, well, Lako as a digital brand has its roots deeply planted within the data and analytics from day one. That is not the secret. And not only that we use today that we use the data related to the behavior and feedback from the website and app as the valuable source of information, but there are lots of things going on behind the scene which makes Lako somehow unique, like you mentioned. And for example, there is a price calculation engine which is updated very frequently, taking into account not only the historical data about the groups of customers, but also some information from the market or claim frequency in general. etc. So there is a lots of things going on under the hood, and we try to, how to say, put all our best knowledge about the data and analytics into this product. So
and maybe just in few words, what would be the key difference, between supporting users with just a reporting tool data and supporting this kind of project, which is basically, should be online 24/7 to whoever wants to use it?
Okay. So since our business intelligence tool, for example, and the data warehouse in general was more oriented to strategic and tactical operations, there is no, how to say, so much difference at that level. But what we implemented for this Laco brands is a lot of additional things. And for example, we exposed a lot of data to the engine of this product in a way that was not the case before. So we now use the available data, this customer part, especially in much more advanced way.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Okay, so moving further, actually I have one question under the, subtopic architecture, but now when I read it, I realize it doesn't have anything to do with architecture. And actually it's question for Davor, for you being really on a business intelligence side, and in many companies, those departments really end up under the IT. So how do you feel, how much important is it to have really a business understanding of what you're providing to the users? Right.
Oh, Milan, I'm really glad that you asked me that question. So in Croatia Osiguranje, we basically perceive BA department as a bridge between IT and business. So even though BA is traditionally, like you said, positioned under the IT department, we strongly believe that successful BA team must have an advanced business knowledge. And for example, I can give you two examples. If BI team talks the language of business, it is able to understand management and much better and translate raw ideas into final BI applications much faster with less iterations. And second one is that if corporate business strategy is understandable to BI team, then if BI team clearly understands the key drivers of the business, BI is able to distinguish between information of high value and information which is not currently maybe so valuable, and in that way proactively help to improve business decision process. There is always, of course, parts which are IT related, like hardware maintenance, software installation, etc. But our idea is to how to say, is to minimize those efforts or to externalize it if possible. And at the end of the day, what we try to do is to develop the BA team as a group of experts from various fields, which would then be able to react to wide range of challenges from, for example, performance issues, data quality, visualization, and presentation of data, and with the final goal to be, let's say, perceived as a real partner to the business and the source of ideas for development and change. So,
okay, this sounds great.
Idea is to how to say, develop a BA team as a real partner to the business. This is the main focus.
Matej, I saw a lot of nodding on your side, so you get a wild card, to jump in and share your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I can only agree. I laughed, because I fully agree. Like I said in the beginning, I had luck because I'm on the both sides. I'm business user and implementing BI, but obviously this is not scalable. On maybe being open, we have 180 people in the company, and there are 100 BI users. So I can just agree on that you need to connect business and IT and open, show data as wide as possible, because everybody's interested in something else. So everybody needs to find his sweet spot for the reports and data.
I would actually like to ask a similar question to Irnea. I also saw, tiny smiles on her face, but in some companies, controlling departments are perceived with some functionalities of a BI department, depends on organization. Not all companies have BI departments, to be honest. So what I wanted to ask you is, do you manage to position yourself as really a trusted advisor to a board, right? I mean, you're probably not a decision maker in charge for some of the decisions, but then again, you should be a key influencer for those decisions. Is that organized that way?
Yeah, actually, we also have quite strong BI department, and we are really tightly cooperating with all controllers. I'm not alone, I'm only on the Alpacin group, but we have also other local controllers, and we are really in the constant contact with our BI team. So we are actually very tightly cooperating. We are developing all reports together, and also with the support of business areas in which the reports are being developed. And anyhow, for all decisions that are important, of course, controlling plays a big role, especially with the preparation of all arguments to take one decision or not to take it. So we are really, I think that we are quite a good played team together, BI, controlling, and also other leader of other departments. So
okay.
we are working as teams.
That really sounds good. I mean, as some kind of a goal. Srečko, maybe so to finish this round, how does that communication work in the NIST, right? So because obviously data analytics is not only controlling, especially in huge environments like yours, right? How does that communication work? Data analytics, controlling board, how far do you go with your communication and things like that? Sorry, you're just on mute. Yeah, okay, I guess Srečko is not here with us currently. So yeah, here. No.
Can you hear me now?
All good.
Okay, I just turned on and turned off the mic, so.
Sure.
Okay, so for NIST, basically, I would just agree with what everyone else said previously. You need to have a communication between business and IT. I don't see BI as being part of IT at all. I see it as a separate team, a center of excellence, if you will. But I would still, what we are trying to do in NIST is to, provide users, power users within each department. Some people who are early adopters, some people who are interested in learning new technologies, basically, and also have a domain knowledge. Because in this, as you have geology, you have production of oil and certain things like that. So you really need to have that domain or business knowledge. But with these BI tools becoming increasingly easy to use, these people can be trained to use these tools. And basically, with our guidance of, let's say, a center of excellence for BI, they can create analytics on their own.
You actually did a perfect introduction to my last set of questions, but just before moving to that, I have one short for Matej. So, I mean, as I heard, you're also in some kind of a transition to cloud offerings to your customers, right? It's similar to a situation where everyone in data world is, going to currently. How do you see it? Is there a lot of no's from customer side, a lot of concerns? How do you tackle that situation, moving part of their software to a cloud?
Yeah, good question. So for sure, we are a cloud-first company, both internally with our tools, which we are trying to move as much as possible in cloud, as with our product offering to the market. Yeah, there may be, we are transitioning our customers to cloud. We are not completely there yet. Maybe 50-50 for bigger solutions, smaller are still on premise. So I would say, first of all, it depends on the customer. A lot of them already have cloud-first strategy. If they don't, if they resist, we don't push them. We do see more cloud engagement and drive maybe outside our region here, local region, as we do global business, mostly Europe, USA. So, and what are the most critical issues? So it's important if customer is already ready to go cloud. Yeah. Then the most critical issues are security, availability. That what would be asked the most. Then cost, obviously, and maybe at the end it's also functionality, because quite usual cloud products don't have 100% exact functionality as on premise, but it's not more or less, it's different. Even in our products, you get benefits of cloud, and then you have some other functionality which you get more on premise. So it's hard to say, but in general, I do believe in cloud. We believe in cloud. There are many benefits for that. So, and we have more and more also our customers who are pushing, or we sell because we are the only provider of cloud solutions in our business space. So they are searching for cloud.
Okay. That's nice to hear. Davor, maybe some thoughts on your side on the same topic. How do you see whole cloud story from your shoes?
So yeah, since the financial institutions are somehow highly regulated, and yeah, we have to do our business under strict rules from our regulator. Yeah, we are not in a position to be early adopters to go to cloud, but yeah, we are exploring those options as everybody else do, and yeah, I believe that this is something that will be our option in the future as well. So yeah, I hope that we will be ready. I'm certain that we'll be ready when the time comes to switch to cloud.
Okay, great. We're gonna slowly move to last part of our questions. I call them data culture, and somehow we see it maybe even top important on our projects. It's really hard to break your tooth on technology nowadays because a lot of it is really available and easily accessible. So as far as we see it, a lot of things break on data change management and building some kind of a data culture, right? Okay, so to start with this, Srećko actually mentioned it, so we're gonna actually start with him. How do you see this trend of data visualization tools being so popular? Do you see it as a positive or negative? Because on the one hand side, I really think that interest that people show, download Power BI or click or Tableau and play with it is good. But on the other hand side, I think you can easily end up with 10 people looking at 10 different sales figures, which is a bit of an issue, right? So how do you see that situation?
So I'm a really big proponent of BI visualization or data visualization tools like Power BI or Click. I really like to get those quick insights, and then you have that aha moment when the executive is looking at the numbers instead of like endless sea of Excel spreadsheets or like tables. They see that it's visually represented, and they have that aha moment. And I'm really a big proponent, and I'm in favor of that. At the same time, Excel is still the most widely used tool, and it's not just here. Previously, in my work, even outside of the country, in the United States, it was still the same case. So there is that cultural shift that needs to happen. I think data culture is the way you put it. I like that term. Sometimes I use data literacy as well. So people here in this area find it a little bit offensive, but it's not. Actually, you need to learn to look at the data visually and different from what we used to look at the tables and the sea of numbers. So I think the best idea is to create these sort of trainings for data literacy, include as many people as you can, or people who are interested, and then that gradual shift will happen towards using these tools. And of course, single source of truth, it's the imperative. I mean, you have to have single sort of source of truth. You can't have it can't happen that you have three different people looking at different numbers.
I mean, you actually asked yourself another question. So, I mean, you don't wake up in the morning and having a data culture changed. You obviously need to work on it, and educations and trainings are one way to do it. So, how do you support it in your company, right? Do you have some kind of a dedicated training team who just goes around and learns people how to read it? Because, I mean, let's be honest, it's not that easy to read, I don't know, scatter plot 3D with 3 dimensions and things like that. So that's why people avoid it.
Yeah, I just joined the company a little over a year ago, just before the pandemic, and we're working on basically creating a set of trainings for data literacy and data visualization. At this moment, we're working on that.
Okay, great. Davor, actually, same question for you. You're also in the industry which is probably more sales driven than data driven. Maybe if you could order it. So how do you see the situation? Is it hard for you to push people into analyzing reports, understanding the numbers and things like that, or how does it go?
Okay, so data visualization tools definitely have their place in current BI ecosystem, and they are tools which can help us to find some hidden patterns within the data, and that is all true. But the problem is that in recent years, it seems that end users are perceiving those visualization tools as the only component needed to have BI and data warehouse system up and running. And the real value of integration projects, like the one that we started many years ago in Croatia Osiguranje, and this data warehouse in architecture is somehow challenged, but I believe it will almost always backfire, because the complexity of the source systems, data quality issues, ambiguity with data interpretation, those things will not just go away. And yeah, transformation of the data into easy to understand and easy to access database structures is still a must for long-term integrity and sustainability of an ecosystem. And yeah, one more thought regarding those viz tools. Sometimes just a simple bar chart or table with relevant information like current year revenue or like plan, like previous year revenue will be the best way to communicate the data, and it should stay that way. We don't need to overcomplicate or our presentation of information if it doesn't bring let's call it like additional value. But what we need to do is to make all those numbers that we present reliable and accurate 100% all of the time. This is how to say, this is something that will decide if the business intelligence system and data warehouse system will survive the challenge of time or not.
I really like that conclusion. It's so important that it's hard to stress it out, but yeah. Thanks for that. Now, moving actually to, yeah, probably last question is, Matej, I also heard, as you can see, I heard a lot about you, you know, we still didn't speak, but as I heard, you're more of a, you know, BI person than a, let's say, PowerPoint person when speaking of, you know, presenting data in a meetings. So discussing data. You know, if you can just tell us a little about it, and how do you see a role of a top management in designing this data culture, right?
Yeah, definitely. I can just add to what was already said. So first of all, I don't see there is one solution or one answer that would fit all. You know, it's like we still have Excel files in our company as well. No worries. You just want to minimize. So we are a firm believer in BIs. I do see, or we do see data, you know, literacy, data culture. That's a process. It's not you will do one training, you will implement BI, and from next month it's there. No, yeah. It's also, you cannot create one dashboard and this will now tell all the story. No, you need to drill down to data, and different people need to do different drill downs. Yeah. So on our side, you know, this data-driven decision-making was also pushed from the top, and that's important, from our CEO, even my boss, you know, he's firm believer in BI as well. You know, he was impressed with BI that we have when he joined us, and then strong supporter, strong believer, and like you asked, yeah, on our meetings, yeah, it's good to have some PowerPoints, Excel reports up front, but most usually we do it live. And we do it live even on when we have our CEO, when we have presentation for everybody in the company, he will open BI and show and click in BI. Yeah. And that's, you know, we are not hiding anything. It's live data. And we also train other people how to use BI at the same time, where to look at, you know. So I do believe you need to balance. You need to have training. Unfortunately, we don't have enough internal training on BI. We have some recordings and PowerPoints, yeah. But you also need to balance it with training on the job, or, you know, when you speak with your colleagues, use BI. That's the most how they will, the most effective way to learn is doing things together. Yeah. So yeah, we use BI live, even with our partners or customers sometimes, you know. So it's like, yeah, that's the rule in our company.
It really sounds good. Thanks for that answer. Yerna, actually, same question for you. You know, what's the balance in your top management meetings? So how do you balance between, you know, live data, PowerPoint data, Excel data, and things like that?
Well, actually, with the implementation of BI tool, we took the decision that our official reporting must come out of Qlik. So to reach the common understanding of data, we in controlling prepared really the definitions of filters, definitions of market, what is external, what is internal. So for everybody to be clear, so that it cannot happen that on one meeting, 3 people, 3 different numbers. So this is something that is really the task of controlling. At the moment, we are anyhow very traditional business, and this change management is actually happening very slowly. We are encouraging users to use BI as much as possible, but at the moment we are still preparing for the management discussions, the PowerPoint presentations, but with the fact that all data is actually coming out of BI tool. No Excel calculations, nothing is, our official data are BI data. So this is something that we have reached in 2 years.
In 2 years,
yes.
That's so good to hear. That's so good to hear, you know. Thank you very much.
Our site is the same, you know, you can use Excel, but source is BI.
Great to hear. Great to hear. You know, thanks everyone for this discussion. I would like to keep it in a timely manner and invite you just once again for a quick question on this Menti, right? So Nevena, if you can please share information once again. It's going to be a third question, and the question is, you know, quite short, and it says, when you argue on your company meetings, do you use first option is only words, right? It's also not that rare situation. B, Excel or PowerPoint, or C, live BI system to give some additional arguments. If it's not a huge problem for you, I would kindly ask you to, you know, jump in on menti.com and with an ID that Nevena sent to you and answer this. So third question, Nevena, please, not the second, but the third question. So thanks a lot for this. And having this said, we're gonna slowly move to our next slot. So Davor, Srečko, Matej, and Irnea, thank you very much for this. I didn't know that answers are going to be this good, so hopefully they were also helpful. I mean, just 2 words for everyone. The idea behind this panel, you know, was to see and to hear from really different roles involved in this process and different companies involved in this data world. You know, that everyone has its own story, but actually that the success is really doable. You know, maybe in 2 years, maybe in 6 months, maybe in 3 years. But you know, step by step, and we're probably going to get there. So thanks a lot once again, and not to be too rude, but if you can just turn off your cameras.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks a lot for this once again. Okay, everyone. Moving on. As I promised, we're gonna try to be here on time. And we're actually jumping to our first presentation. First out of 3. So Božidara spent 10 years on Josef Stefan Institute, including in various positions, including also a postdoc research associate in a field of AI and artificial intelligence. Boža, hi, good to see you. And is now leading our data science team. So on top of what you'll see here today, she's also an expert in area of human behavior, right? Which is really, really interesting topic when speaking of smart customer profiling, personalized marketing, churn detection, and things like that. But we're going to leave that for another event. So Boža, just before you sharing the screen and me muting myself, maybe just one quick question. You've been so many years doing university researches. Now, what do you see as the main difference between what you're doing here today? So real, all those are real, but industry projects and, so to say, academic projects. Just maybe in few words.
Yeah, thank you for the question. It's interesting question. I mean, the main difference is the goal of the work what is the final goal. And it is different. I can, of course, speak only for this industry I'm working right now. But to kind of single out, the one thing is that in academia, your goal is to find new knowledge and to research for new knowledge. And here in industry, you can actually see that knowledge implemented and used by people on daily basis, which is very it's very nice actually for the difference with the academia.
Okay, great. Hopefully it's also a positive change for you. So thanks for that. Now I'm gonna mute myself and turn off the camera. So please feel free to share a screen. You have a slot of 30 minutes. As I mentioned for everyone in the beginning, feel free to drop in your questions in a chat. If we have enough time, Boža will jump in and answer them. If not, we're gonna of course do the follow-up. So Boža, please go ahead.
I hope you see my screen.
All good.
Okay. So hello everybody, and thank you for just coming in to listen for my presentation. I am Božidara Cvetković, as Milan said before, and in next 25 to 30 minutes, I will try to kind of lead you through the inventory optimization using AI. So we will be we will be talking about the problem we have. We will see what the order procedure is in the warehouse and what the order procedure is in the retail, with focus to find similarities and differences. We will meet Bob and we will ask ourselves, how can AI help Bob in his work? Then we will briefly check how AI does it and benefits that come from this, and then we will conclude the presentation. So what is actually the challenge? Whether you're coming from the retail industry or manufacturing industry, anytime you work with some products, you have a warehouse. So to have some products, you need either to order products from vendors or materials that you use to produce these products. So what you do is you order certain products from vendors. These are then sent to your warehouse and your stock level is increased. And this is a term that we will use quite often in this presentation, since the level of the stock is very important KPI, since it directly translates into cash flow. And if you don't have it, it also means lost sale potential. So now we have our stock full in the warehouse. Usually we have some retail shops or that order things from us on some scheduled or non-scheduled basis. So these retail shops send us an order and we then send products to the shops. This decreases the stock level in the warehouse, but increases the stock level in the retail stores. What often occurs is that we can have some customer that does not have scheduled orders to our warehouse, but also uses our products for their shops, let's say. So this means that quite often they will send an order to our warehouse and we have to supply them with the products, which additionally decreases our stock level. This is very important since we always have to maintain the stock level in the warehouse in that level that we always have the right product at the right place at the right time. So we don't want a customer to want to buy something from us and we cannot sell it, right? So this is the main goal of the warehouse inventory. But now let's focus on the retail shops, which are also a case in the inventory optimization. And usually they are not stacked all together, but they are kind of all over the region or a country. And as seen before, we sent some products to the shops, so their stock level is very high. During a certain period of time, these products get sold. And of course, we know some items or products are more popular in certain stores and not that popular in others. So as we see here, this store is actually on a really critical level with the stock. And we have a store here that kind of the selling of this product is not very popular, and it can stay there for a longer period of time, and it can actually become dead stock. So we can either order items, this product from the warehouse for the store that has no stock, or we can actually kind of introduce transfers between the stores where it's much more it's much better to transfer a certain item from a store where it does not sell well to the store where it will get sold faster. So this is also a very important part of the inventory optimization, the transfers. So just quickly to see what are the similarities between the ordering and replenishing procedure between warehouse and retail, is that in the warehouse we have a purchaser that takes care of a single or multiple vendors. He is the expert in all the constraints regarding this vendor. He knows everything about these items for a certain vendor. In the retail, we have a different scenario where we have one purchaser per single store, or maybe we have a centralized replenishment where one purchaser actually orders for multiple stores. So this purchaser has to know everything, has to have an information about all the products that are sold in a single store or multiple stores. So there is so many information that this purchaser has to take in that it's a pretty stressful job, actually. What is the same in both cases is that they're all handling a lot of items which can be of different sales dynamics. So they can be very stable in their sales, they can be seasonal, promotional. There are also some substitutes. Some items have short expiration date. So it's a very there are various things that someone has to think about before ordering. Next is the difference, actually. In warehouse, the purchaser has to think about the sale potential for the next period until the truck comes in again, and they have to think about how good will these items be sold in retail, in wholesale, in web, and all other parts of that they are replenishing. Whereas in the retail, this purchaser has to think about the sale potential for that exact location. And of course, the same thing that goes for warehouse and retail is that they both have to think about their stock level. So they should not order too much, so that can be a dead stock at some point, or not enough, because then they have stock out. Okay, to see this more in a visual way, we have Bob. Now we meet our Bob. This is our purchaser, and currently he's in this slide he's ordering items from the vendor. He's taking care of 600 items approximately. These are 2 vendors. What Bob has to do for each of these 600 items is to analyze current stock, analyze sales, kind of figure out what is the sales potential for this item, and evaluate how much of this item he needs until the next purchase order. And then set the order quantity and input it into the purchase form. If Bob makes some large order, or the order is not big enough, he has to report to Anna, which is a purchase lead. She will come back and say, Bob, why is our stock level too high? Why did the stock out happen? And so on. In case Bob his orders are too frequent and there are a lot of trucks coming into the warehouse, there will be Dan, who is a warehouse manager, and he will say, can you do this less often, because there are so many trucks coming in and we cannot put everything into the shelves. So he will complain about the jams. Of course, there is management that wants to know what's going on with the stock, with the jams in the warehouse. And nevertheless, we always have this new person, either as a replacement or a student or someone. Let's say Bob goes for a vacation, we have some new person, so Bob has to do the training for Eva, which is everything that Bob does, so it's really stressful. What is the similarity or difference between warehouse and retail store? It's actually pretty the same. What is the difference is in the step 4, when Bob decides on the order quantity for the item, he has to check the availability in the warehouse, and in case there is not enough item quantity in the warehouse, he has to check for potential transfers. And in case there is also not a potential transfer, he has to analyze similar items and check if he can kind of replace the item with something else. Then he inputs the order in purchase form and sends it. Well, how can AI help Bob? The first thing is that in case of technology, as we've heard in the panel before, we can employ the technology to crunch the data and return recommendations. So here we can see we can take the transactional data from the ERP, we can take customer data, we can even take BI data and third-party data, for example, some weather forecasts, weather history, transportation, demographic data, everything that is very important for our case. The next step is to kind of encode the algorithm that Bob does and try to optimize it. So the technology can take several constraints into account and make the decision faster. So what we do, so we saw that before there was one of the steps where he has to analyze the stock. We can employ a stock monitor module that can detect current alerts, overstocks, stockouts for each item at a certain day, and decide whether we should order it directly from the vendor. Sometimes that is much better. Or we can order it as a replenishment from the warehouse, or maybe a transfer procedure. To actually do that, everything is based on the forecast of the sale. So for each item, at each location, we forecast the sale for a certain period of time. And once we have the forecast for this item, how much we think it's going to be sold in a certain period, then we have the scheduler module that takes all the possible constraints that vendor has. Item also has some constraints, and simulates the future and sets the optimal order for the current order date. Sometimes when ordering for the warehouse, we also want to optimize our cargo. So we want to save our money on the logistics, on the transport, so we can also input these recommended orders and try to figure out how to stack our items in 1 truck, 2 trucks, 3 trucks, not to have some items just putting into our cargo that will not sell in a normal amount of time. Then there are also transfer optimizations, which apart from stock availability can also use some route optimization. Retail stores that are closer together, they are better for some transfers. When we have all this information, we can directly input into ERP purchase data, we send it to BI, and also on web, mobile, and in case we need to contact the person, also a CRM. So we have this algorithm, and what does Bob see? What Bob sees is in the morning, he wakes up, he says, okay, today is my date for ordering BE-terna drinks, let's say, and he opens his ERP and he already has this filled out. He has all the items filled out and all the recommended quantities that the system proposed. Of course, there is a possibility that someone called Bob yesterday and said we are going to order a large amount of something, so we enable also for Bob to change these quantities accordingly. Besides this requisition worksheet, we also heard in the panel that is very important to understand the data. We give Bob a BI application where he can actually analyze why did we come to this recommended order. And he can analyze the sales, historic sales, the forecast. So we can see pink are the real sales, the blue ones are the forecasted sales, and what do we think the stock will look like in the future. What Bob can actually also get is editable BI application. So he can have both things in one BI application, the order form and the analytics. So what Bob sees here is the same as we saw before in the order form in the ERP. He can analyze which item for which vendor, if there is a store involved, also what is the location of the store. He gets to see all important KPIs that are used for making orders. So what are the sales in the last period? What is the current stock in the warehouse? And of course, there are some vendor constraints and item constraints. So we can order packages, pallets, cartons, and each item has its own constraints. So we have some order quantity that Bob can just say, okay, and move on. What he gets here is also the analysis. So we need 12 of these items because we forecast the sale for the next 14 days, and we are ordering for 7 days. And this is the stock that you currently have. Once all the items are, Bob is satisfied with the items, he can even just, he does not need to check all the items. He confirms the order, which can be sent directly to ERP or downloaded, since sometimes the orders are done through mailing the order form to our customer. Okay, so how does it work and why does it work? We are asking ourselves. So the most important ingredient in this case is the data. And we need enough data for each item. We need the historic sales. We need the true data, relevant data. We also need to enrich this data with some contextual information like outliers, weather, substitutes, whether it's a promotion in the history or in the future. And all this information gets modeled and used for the forecast. For example, if we are looking at this sales data, so the pink one is the sales data, we can say, yeah, it's seasonal item that has some problems in April, and it's it's seasonal item. But when we enrich this sales data, we say this is Corona time, so you should label this with some specifics. This is how Corona looks like. And actually, these are promotional time. This is promotion. You had promotion in 2019 of this type, and promotion of different type in the 2020, which actually reflects on the sales. So if this kind of information the system gets, then they can know if they are making promotion of the type of the promotion in the 2019, the sale will be probably larger than the promotion that was done in 2020. When we have all this enriched data, then we do the forecasts. We do the daily, weekly, monthly, depends on the on what we require and how frequently we want to order. So we can have shorter forecasts, like for a few weeks, because we are ordering for I don't know, 7 days, or we can have a forecast for several months, up to 1 year, in case we have such vendors. Or we want to replenish our stores for such a period of time, which is not very, it's not very smart. So when we have these forecasts, then we can move on and employ the thing we said, it's a stock monitor that actually analyzes the stock and detects different things. For example, here, we can detect at the current date, this is the yellow point, do we have to, the question is, do we have to order? And here the system says, yes, we need we are below some safety stock level. And after we get our items, this is how the stock will look like. Here we can also detect overstocks, dead stock. And what is also interesting is that we can detect anomalies on the stock level, which means that usually anomaly means that there is stock but nothing is sold. So it can either be dead stock, or it can be something, it can be a stock that is missing, but in the system we still see it. There are several things that can be understood as an anomaly. Then how we can also enrich our order recommendation is we detect similar items. So there are similar items, and we can analyze the correlation between the sales of these items. So whether certain items are moving together, when one sale increases, the other one increases. What happens if we put some item on sale and that sale increases, does the other one decrease? So we can also analyze the impact of a certain product on another product. Okay, when we have everything calculated, we can generate the order recommendation. So here we get certain constraints. For example, some vendors have minimal order, some have maximal order that we can do. There are certain ways of ordering into packages, pallets, so we have to round it. And this is everything that Bob gets to see in the order form. So for example, we have items specific. We should always have 4 items in our store. We have packages. And then when we generate this order recommendation, we also have to check our stock level in the warehouse. And here we see that we have only 13 and we need 20, 12. And what happens if we take all these 12 from the warehouse means that warehouse will be empty. So here for the store 10, we can actually employ the transfers and analyze if any of the stores has overstock. Here we can see that store 5 has overstock, and we can transfer these items fairly between the stores, which actually improves our service level because we have it on stock and does not take everything from the warehouse. Let's see the benefits. So the management will want to know how many items can be automatically ordered. We have seen in our from the experience that around 80% of items can be ordered automatically, which means that for these 80 items, we can decrease the time spent on filing these orders. We have quicker learning curve, as we've seen before, because you can visually understand why certain order recommendation is made. There is a very important part in the impact on the stock level. We've seen that stock level can be decreased somewhere from 25% to 65% depending on the item and on the constraints for each item. And we can even improve the stock by transferring the items between the stores. And very important is that service level is increased since we decrease the number of stockouts and we enable optimal transfers. But not only management has its benefits. We have Bob here again. So Bob now has more time for the 20% because they are complex, they are new. He can even think about putting into the portfolio new items, new vendors. If management decides on opening new warehouse or retail store, that the system can be easily rolled out to a new location. Eva here has a verification of orders through dashboard when she starts her work. Even Bob uses this. Of course, then in the warehouse, since we control the frequency of orders, we can also anticipate the incoming trucks and containers, and these can be also scheduled. So they are coming in on some scheduled order. With cargo optimization, we can also put very important items in the first shipment. So when the first shipment is unloaded, it can be directly put into sale. If we have all this information, even our marketing team can have advantages here because they know how much we're going to sell. They can negotiate with vendors. They can put some very interesting promotional activities out and so on. So to conclude, the takeaway here is that using technology can improve the utilization of the data and can do a lot in automatization of orders. Such system can have a possibility to control the stock, optimize the stock. The service level is increased. We have also detection in place and control in the warehouse. Everything is done for a single purpose of having the right product at the right place at the right time. And what is also very important is that this can be used across different industries. It doesn't matter whether you're a retailer or a manufacturer, you always have to have enough certain material or product on stock. So this is with what I will conclude my presentation. Thank you for your attention and bye-bye.
Boža, thanks a lot for this, and thanks for being in a timely manner, or so to say, on time. Since we're just 3 minutes, sorry, maybe you can mute yourself, it's echoing. So since we have only 3 more minutes, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat, we'll do the follow-up. Meanwhile, before moving to next person, I would kindly ask Nevena just to share once again. I really like the following question, if you can help us again on the Menti. Nevena will share, I mean, it's the same link and the same code. And the question is really a quick one. That's, for common inventory issues, which one do you want to fix first? Of course, it's a bit overlapping question. We have options of out of stock, overstock, cash flow, or lost sales, which is pretty similar, right, to out of stock. But it's more if you're really experiencing, customer services issues and dissatisfaction and things like that. So yeah, we would really like to have answers from your side. And just before moving to Christoph, just a quick info. You've now probably seen in a couple of events, we've been investing a lot into this inventory optimization solution. And luckily, and finally in Q2, maybe Q3, we're going to go public with a solution. You will see a lot of updates on our web. And hopefully we're going to also have, let's say, a POC environment ready for the extensive testing and usage. So that will mean that actually a lot of you and a lot of our customers and potential customers will be able to, test the platform quite easily. But more on that topic to come in upcoming months. So moving to Christoph. Christoph, hi, thanks a lot for joining us and jumping in. We've been discussing a lot about only data up until now. Now we're going to broaden this topic a little bit. Why? Because I really have a feeling and a feedback from customers is that Microsoft's Power Platform really is a game changer in terms of what companies can do pretty easily in terms of optimizing some processes, right? Various processes, different internal processes. Christoph is our product manager for a Microsoft Data Platform with a great experience in it. And my suggestion is, really to use him if you have any questions while he's here with us because of his, really extensive knowledge. So, Christoph, please feel free to start. You have a half an hour slot. You can mix it with a presentation, questions, whatever you want. So please go ahead and I'll mute myself.
Thank you for the nice introduction, Milan, and I appreciate that you having me. First test, can you hear me all right? Can I please have a short feedback?
All good, all good.
Perfect. So then I'll start sharing my screen right now. Please also very short feedback if you can see it.
Yeah, all good.
Perfect. Then welcome everyone to my slot on this event today. Discover all the possibilities of the Microsoft Power Platform and overview. What is the goal of this slot? We're talking about a lot about BI today, also about Power BI. And the Microsoft Power Platform really encompasses more than just, and I don't want to make it small, but it encompasses more than just BI, right? So there's a lot of products, and I just want to give you a quick overview of all of them. In case you already know those, please do not tune out just yet. I also have two very nice examples how you, in the end, can integrate and combine different products of the Microsoft Power Platform in order to make a nice use case work. So I hope there's something for everyone. Quick words to myself. My name is Christoph Schließer. I am, as already mentioned, the product manager for the Microsoft Power Platform in BE-terna DACH, so Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And yeah, I'm working in this field for over 4 years now. It's not much older than many of the components of the Power Platform are. And yeah, I just get started. An overview, what is the Microsoft Power Platform? The Microsoft Power Platform could be described in 3 words or phrases. The Microsoft Power Platform is an Azure-based low-code, no-code platform overall. What does that mean? Really, when we think about the platform aspect of it, the first thing you need to understand is that it's a group of multiple products or tools. So Power BI is one of them, but there's more. And we can combine all of those tools in different ways to realize many use cases and different solutions. Very important. We also talked about low-code, no-code today already. So all the tools, all the products, all the components of the Power Platform come in a low-code fashion, which means that no knowledge in higher languages like C#, Java, you name them, are required to get started. Of course, it doesn't hurt, but you don't need it. Azure-based in this sense means that everything made with the Power Platform is in fact cloud-based, so you have all the availability, scalability, and connectivity which comes with cloud platforms or with the Azure cloud in particular. I've been talking about a lot of different products now, so I'm going to give you a quick overview of the single tools. So one local platform that spans Office, Dynamics, Azure, and standalone applications. What do we have? Power BI. The first one is here for business analytics. I assume you all know you have data. With Power BI, you can make knowledge out of your data to make educated and informed decisions. Very important in a few words. Then the second tool is Power Apps, which the name gives it away, is here for application development. So you can create applications which provide your users with a graphical interface so that they can interact with data, drive processes, and so on and so forth. On the other hand, we have Power Automate, and Power Automate is here for workflow automation and integration. So it's everywhere where you don't want or need user interaction on a real-time basis, because an app, if no user is in front of it, is pretty much useless. A Power Automate workflow, on the other hand, can work in the background without a user constantly sitting in front of it and making inputs and so on. Last but not least, the youngest child in the family are the Power Virtual Agents, which are basically chatbots. Like, it's a small framework where you can very quickly create chatbots to talk to or to chat with internal employees or external customers and just engage them on a more natural level, so to say, like with natural speech. A foundation of all of those tools are Dataverse, data connectors, and the AI builder, a small database which comes along with the Power Platform, or it's not small, actually, it's quite mature. But yeah, there's a database coming with the Power Platform. That's the important part. There's a lot of data connectors, so you can connect to different sources. You know it from Power BI. You can connect to all kinds of different systems to get data out. Also with Power Apps and Power Automate, you can just connect to systems, execute actions from other systems, get data in, write data there. So you have a lot of flexibility to just enhance your applications with other services and data from other databases. And then also we have the AI builder, which also comes with the Power Platform, which is just a low-code tool also to build your own custom AI models and then use them. So you send data to the AI service, it does something with it, and you get something with like enriched knowledge back, so to say. So you send up a picture and it tells you what's on it and where it is positioned and how many of those objects there are on the picture, just for example. Then on top, we have Dynamics Office and Azure because, of course, Power Platform components integrate very well with everything which is made by Microsoft. So Dynamics Business Applications, Office applications, Azure services, or also infrastructure which is deployed in Azure. And of course, you can also make your own business apps and data, or you can connect to your own business apps and data. So you do not have to use Dynamics Office or Azure services, but you can use them. You can also use third-party services or your own systems to build your solutions. Just very quickly, let's jump into the single tools and what the single components are for, just to give you a bit of a deeper look onto the single components. First off, Power BI, I'm just going to go very quickly over it. Make sense of your data with ease, visualizing data and analyze data across different systems, create ad hoc analysis, live dashboards, and interactive reports, and consume them in browser or mobile. So you always have your data and your knowledge with you. And I won't spend too much time on that because that's what the entire day is about. Power Apps, we actually have two different kinds. One is so-called Canvas Power Apps, which are here for creating cloud-based cross-platform applications. So what does that mean? With Canvas Power Apps, you can build highly individual task and or role-based apps. So it's really for one purpose and one group of users, and you can really optimize the interface to make the process as simple as you need it to be. Nothing unnecessary there. Every button is exactly where you want it, and there's only those things which you really, really need. So there's not much overhead. It's really well suited for those very, very specialized use cases. Of course, you can also build a big Canvas Power App. There's no hard border there, but that's just what they're most suited for, I would say. Exactly. Optimize the app for the purpose of the app. You can use and combine data from multiple different sources. That's very important. So you can connect to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sources, get the data into the app, mesh it up, do something with it, and then write back into either of those sources once you're done with a specific process handled by the application. Then you can play those apps either standalone or embedded on browser or mobile, on every device and platform, embedded into a SharePoint, into a Power BI dashboard. And that's actually one of the use cases we're going to see later today. We are going to create a marketing list directly from a Power BI report, which has an embedded Canvas Power App. So stick around if you want to see that. As already mentioned, we have at the moment more than 400 connectors which are out of the box available with Power Apps to connect to cloud services, to different databases, to web APIs, to file types, etc. You could also provide hybrid connectivity to on-premises data sources with a so-called on-premises data gateway, which basically enables the communication from the cloud to your internal database or SharePoint or whatever you want to attach. And you have custom connectivity via custom connector. So there's really also a lot of room to play. If you can't find your system among the 400 plus out of the box connectors, you can also build your own. So you have a lot of possibility to make applications which work together with other services. The other part, or the other type of app which you are about to see, are model-driven Power Apps, which are specialized in creating rich back office applications. One of you maybe might now think that this looks a lot like Dynamics 365 for customer engagement. That is a very valid point because it actually is the same technological basis. So a model-driven Power App is the same technology as Dynamics CRM, as field service, as marketing, as all of those customer engagement applications. So it's a very mature technology, and we can just harness it to make our own custom applications without all the things which come with Dynamics. So if we just need a small application which has nothing to do with Dynamics, we can use the technology and make our own with the same technology, which is very nice. With model-driven Power Apps, you can create rich, responsive back-office applications on top of a Dataverse database. So that's very important. You do not yet, if it's coming or when it's coming is still a big question, you do not have yet the big connectivity which Canvas apps provide. So you have to use it with Dataverse, the database which comes with the Power Platform. You work with components of the Unified interface here, so you have actually streamlined app layout across different areas. So you do not have all the freedom that you have in Canvas Power App when it comes to design. You will always have your sitemap on the left. You will always have your views and forms and everything, which looks quite similar, but it's always a very nice and streamlined experience when you work in model-driven Power Apps, because you just know where the menu is and you just know how it's built up. Of course, you can also play model-driven apps on every device with out-of-the-box responsiveness, which means it responds to how much space it has available on a given screen. So it's either very vertical or very horizontal. I just mixed vertical and horizontal, but you know what I meant. Then we also have Power Automate, formerly known as Microsoft Flow. So if you know Flow, you also know Power Automate, which is here for automating and integrating your business processes. You basically have something like a flowchart editor to create your workflows. You can also use actions from different systems to automate between them. So it uses the same connectors as Power Apps. So we also here have access to 400 plus out-of-the-box connectors and custom connectors and everything we just mentioned before. You can use conditions, loops, and parallelism, so you can make nice complex workflows also if you have the skill for it. And of course, you can trigger workflows based on a certain event, on a scheduled basis, or manually. And I'm also going to show off one flow later on, which in my case just sends me a notification when somebody through my app creates a new marketing list. Just, hey, somebody created a marketing list, look at it, check it, and make some improvements, for example. The other component which I just want to talk about, because it's currently actually quite hyped, or it has a lot of attention right now, is so-called robotic process automation, which are also known as UI or desktop flows. And with those, you can actually automate services without interfaces, so without programming interfaces. So if you have an on-prem application which you cannot talk to directly through an API, you can just record a process with a task recorder, and you also record the corresponding inputs you take. So example for creating a new customer in the system. This works with both desktop and web applications. Then you can run the UI flow and automatically execute the recorded task with dynamically filled values. So really a mouse is moving then on your computer. It's like there's a ghost sitting in front of it, and it basically replicates the process you recorded before, but inputs the values you tell it to put into the respective fields. And basically you can then watch the UI flow and go drink coffee, because you should not disturb the flow while it works, because it will be confusing for it, of course. Last but not least, I know I'm moving very fast, but it's just to give you a general idea of the possibilities here. We have analytics, we have apps to drive processes, we have workflows in the background, and we also have chatbots. And just think about what you can do with it. It's really so much that you can't even list half of it in an hour. So you can go into every area, into every kind of use case, and just think about how can I use all of those components to drive processes, and how to analyze then my data in order to make the processes better, in order to drive my business, in order to make decisions. So that's the purpose of this quick overview. So if I'm too fast, don't worry. You're not supposed, or you don't have to understand everything to the deepest right now. Power Virtual Agents create chatbots for internal and external channels. So you basically define topics your bot should be able to handle. For example, an order or a service inquiry, something a flow or a bot should be able to talk about, basically. Then you can also define how your bot should behave in those topics. So which questions should it ask? What should it do with the answers it gets to the questions? Should it extract information? should it store the information somewhere? It's really your own choice. You can then also design conversation paths. So what does the bot do depending on how the customer or also employee responds? And which is very powerful, you can also integrate Power Automate to execute tasks in the background while the bot is chatting with the person. So when the bot asks, for example, after the customer says, hey, I have a problem with my shipping, the bot can ask, what's your shipping number? Then the customer gives the shipping number, and then the bot hands it over to Power Automate. Power Automate goes into the system with the shipping number, looks onto the status and says, hey, I found your order. It's currently shipped. It will be here in 2 days. And it can really get this information from other system for the virtual agent, give it back, and the virtual agent can then respond. So also here we have a really tight integration between Power Automate and virtual agents, for example. After you're done, so after you set up your flow or your Power virtual agent, I don't know why I keep saying flow all the time, you can expose your bot on various channels. And there we have Teams, Skype, we have Facebook Messenger. You can publish it on a website. I think you also have Telegram. And so you have many different channels where you can just expose your bot to people, where they can talk to the bot, where they can get their information, where they can place their inquiries. Good, 14 minutes left. I think I'm doing very good in time. As so often, the total is greater than the sum of its parts. I talked about we have many different tools. They have all their own purposes, but if you combine them, you can harness the true power of the Power Platform. So around Dataverse, which can be your home for all of your data, for all of your applications, you can build apps on it, which drive business processes. You can automate your app with Power Automate in the background. You can analyze the data exhaust from an app with Power BI. Of course, when there's a process, there's always data exhaust, which just screams to be analyzed, because if it's just lying there, it's no good for anyone. With Power Automate, on the other hand, you can drive business processes with an app. You can analyze data to find places to automate with Power BI. You can automate response metrics. You can automate responses to metrics, to Power BI. So if you have an alert, if some thresholds are passed, you can just kick off a Power Automate flow and it does something for you. So really, there's a lot of different ways to integrate those tools. And we will look at 2 of them right now, just practical examples. First, the more classic BI integration approach, which is putting analytics into applications. It's nothing really new. I still want to show it off. So we have here basically a model-driven Power App where we do all of it. And I'm very sorry, this Power App in particular is German. The other one will be in English, but I will explain you what it does just so you get a grasp of it. And we will just integrate a dashboard right here. So when I go into my app now, that's an app. It reminds, as I said, of D365. It's a model-driven Power App. We have here all of our customers. I can go on BE-terna as a customer. I see all of the data associated with the customer and so on and so forth. I have my timeline here, which also comes from Dynamics Customer Engagement. You have contacts you can click onto. And this particular use case is here for handling tenders and campaigns. So I can go inside here. I see my campaigns. I see all campaigns. I can also go to the tenders, for example. So if I go to the tender number 5, I see in which stage it is. I can work with it. I can drive the process because I have all of the fields which are necessary already filled out. You see, I have a test here. So if I should take this out, the process will immediately say, hey, you cannot go to the next stage because there's something missing. And of course, when people or departments handle all of those tenders, all of those campaigns, all of those contracts, there is always somebody who wants to know what's going on with all of them. So for that particular reason, we have a Power BI report just integrated right into the application. So you don't have to go far. You see everything which is going on. We see there's a normal Power BI dashboard with all of the tenders according to their phase. So draft, pre-sales, quote, offer, project, and closed or ended. And we can do our drill down filters. We can do everything what we want. We also have a list here, and we can then again link back to the respective tender. And just when we click, jump off there. And now we're on the tender and can work with it again. So it's a nice closed loop where we drive the process with a model-driven Power App. We analyze the data exhaust with Power BI, which is integrated into the same application. So we don't have to jump far. And then when we find something, we can just click again on the tender and jump right back into the record and continue our work. That's basically it. I guess it's very familiar approach to just bring analytics into applications. I'm just checking if there are any questions. Not yet. Of course, if there should be any, please feel free to just post them. The second use case is a Canvas app, as already mentioned, which is integrated into a Power BI report, which analyzes data from a dynamic CRM system. So that's really now a full-fledged CRM. You see there's not much difference, except it says Dynamics instead of Power Apps in front, but it's the same technology. I just want to stress this once more. You have there a really mature app framework to build your applications. And yeah, we again have all of our accounts, all of our contacts. You already saw that. But now we go into our marketing. So we have campaigns, spring campaign, the fall campaign, the summer campaign, and the winter campaign. We have an exclusive event campaign for all of our customers. So we want to have an event in summer for all of our top customers. And we, of course, also want to create a new marketing list for them. I will just delete this marketing list right now, so you see that there's nothing there yet. So in this process, I would now have to ask myself as a user, who are my top customers? And of course, I could go into the system, I could open a list, I could make an Excel sheet, and I could sum up all of the orders the customer had in the last couple of years, but then that's not what I want to do. I want to open a dashboard, I want to slice a bit of data, and then I want to just have a nice chart which shows me all of my top customers from a certain period of time. And then I want to very easily create a marketing list and add exactly those companies to the marketing list. And that's now where this dashboard comes in. This is not supposed to win a beauty prize. It's a technical demo. Of course, you can make the dashboard a lot prettier. You can also make the app a lot prettier. You can actually make it look as you like. So this is our nice pink corporate design right here. And as I said, I'm having my dashboard here. I see good, how many orders by status do I have? What's my top customers by revenue? Where are those customers? And I will now just slice it by time. And you see it's rather, do you still see my screen?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I see a camera now.
All good. We see it.
Okay. Good. Where was I? Exactly. As you see, I have a demo system here, so all the data is from 2015 and 16, but that doesn't matter. And I can now just select by customers. So I see, hey, there's a few customers which have more than 6 million of revenue in this time frame. So I can just select them right here. Whichever I want. Maybe I just take the top 7 now. And now I have my Canvas app right here. So this is an embedded Canvas app. And the cool thing about it is it takes data from the context of Power BI. So right now I just have to create in the marketing list. I'm in step 1 of 3. As I said, it's very, very simple and it's very simplistic also. So there's only things which I need for creating the marketing list, nothing else, because nothing else interests me at this point in time. I now say top customers for event. Purpose, event invitations. And here I put my description, just a unique identifier. I say create marketing list, and you can see that right now I already have this marketing list here. So it's directly connected to the system, but there's nothing inside yet. Then I have in the next step tie to campaigns. So which campaigns do I want to tie it to? To the exclusive event, yeah, and then maybe also to the summer campaign. I go back to my system, refresh, already there. Real-time access, real-time integration. Then I click next. Third and final step, I now have all of the selected customers here. If I should decide to get rid of a few and hit refresh here, it's less. If I want to add more of them, of course, it's more. And as you can see right now, just to believe me, there's no members right now. As soon as I hit the finish button right here, it needs just a few seconds to relate all of those records in the background. And now when I go back to my marketing list and hit refresh, I have all of those customers now right in this marketing list as members. Also, I can click here to check it in the system, which is again just a link back to the main application. So when I click, I jump off, I go directly into this marketing list, see which campaigns it is part of, see which members there are, and basically the process is done. I was also telling you about Power Automate before, because Power Automate is just sitting here and listening in the background if a marketing list is created by any chance. And if there is, it says, "Hi, Christoph, a new marketing list called Top Customers for Event has been created in BE-terna Demo 13. And please click here to open it in the system." And of course, it will open a new link and jump to the exact same spot. To close the circle, we can then, of course, also integrate this dashboard again into the model-driven Power App. So we now have a embedded Power BI report in a model-driven app, which has an embedded Canvas app, which writes into the model-driven app, and the Power Automate flow, which brings it all together in terms of notification. So there's really an integration inception going on here, but it is pretty nice for people who have to work with those kinds of things. With that being said, I'm open for questions. We only have 4 minutes left. So we can also come back to you after the event if we should not be able to answer your question right now. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot for this. I really like watching your energy explaining all of this, because it really makes even a product look better. So I wanted to ask you just one quick before we move on. Now, obviously, you showed a couple of examples, but just maybe out of the head, it doesn't matter if it's from your experience in BE-terna or from worldwide experience. What are the most common use cases that you bump into? That really helps some operational process be more optimized?
That's really an easy and hard question at the same time, because I actually, in case such a question popped up, I prepared a few slides also. What we did in the past was a gas facility check, which was standalone. So you had your gas facilities, you had your checks, and you had also an app which just enabled a worker out in the field to go to the gas facility and check it. We also had a gas tank check app, so that's maybe something we did several times, which worked together with finance and operations. It was not standalone, it was just mobile. So somebody knew, hey, those are my checks I have to do. I can just have 5 toggles, so it was a bit smaller than the other one before, and I can do this. Campaign and tender management, I already showed you. We had a spare part order app with finance and operations with an explosion drawing, then you can just click on it and you can just order that part a specific amount of times. We also made load checks app. So when something comes into your company, you check it. Is the products, are the products okay? Is the packaging fine? How much did I get? And then you can also print it into a document. We also made a visitor management app with CRM, so that a visitor gets a code and can just check in and you always know who's in your building and who's not there. There's also a material master app. That's we also do a lot of times. So when there's some master data of customers of products, it goes through a process before it's actually stored in the ERP system. So just a workflow. First, somebody makes a proposal, then technical specialists just extend it with a few fields or with a bit of data, and then some head of something pushes a button and says that's okay, it can go into the system. We also have apps together with production and things like that. We have quality assurance apps, expense management. There's many things. I'm sorry, long answer for short question.
No. It's actually amazing answer, because I mean, I didn't know you had it prepared, to be honest. But I wanted to open, ideas to to people who are listening to you. So thanks really a lot once again. Yeah, I'm sure we're going to have additional discussions on this topic. And now we're actually moving on to a last part. I have to say that I'm really happy and even a little bit excited about the next slot. It is going to be pretty complex, pretty technical or enterprise level, so to say. But on the other hand side, I think it's really a game changer on what we can now offer in our market. Comparing to what we could have done 2 years ago. So, Robert is bringing really experience from Informatica, Talent, Click, and various SAP roles in one person. I've already did a couple of workshops together with him, and really the level of knowledge on this extensive topic is huge and amazing. So, please enjoy this, because this is definitely something that's waiting for you in following years. Depends in which shape. Especially if you're on an enterprise level. So yeah, as I said, enjoy. Feel free to drop in some questions. Robert, you have also a half an hour slot, so please feel free to spend it however you see the best. I'm going to mute myself now, and thanks a lot.
Hi, Milan. Hi together. I hope so. Let's do a first communication check. Is everything okay? Can you hear me? Can you see my slides?
Screen is there, so you're ready to go.
Cool. Okay, so thanks a lot for the introduction. And well, we are talking today about a real challenging theme, and this is Click Data Integration Synapse for SAP clients. So it belongs to let's say, to a frame, to a theme, which we call Click Accelerator Packages. And it addresses a few topics which we believe are hot and meet the requirements of many customers. So first of all, business needs new ways of decision making. So the markets are changing, the customer behaviors are changing. We need information during the day, not let's say after 1 week, or extracted once a day. Often we need real-time information and data. And we see this in many verticals like retail, logistics, and shop floor management, where customers, companies look into possibilities to really empower their business with more detailed information during the day. So what are we doing specifically in an SAP environment, or why do we this in an SAP environment? So the answer is very simple. Many customers are running their business on SAP in different flavors with different modules, but in general, we can say that for many customers, SAP is one of the heartbeat elements of their business. So we are addressing the way of doing analytics for many customers moving into the cloud with those pre-built applications and infrastructure components, and help them to implement a technical solution to help the business by rapid implementation with pre-built content and open metadata. So when I say solution, how could such kind of solution look like? So we call it Click Accelerator Package. Click's Accelerator Package, for example, on Synapse in the Azure cloud, comes with pre-built extractors ready to use. So these pre-built extractors are part of the SAP configuration, and they are ready to use. They provide batch-oriented but also real-time data. The second component is pre-built replicate tasks. Pre-built replicate tasks give you the possibility to leverage change data capture in an SAP environment, which is business-oriented and contains also business logic. The next component is a pre-built data warehouse model for different subject areas like order to cash, like procure to pay, like SAP inventory or SAP financials. The next package is catalog ready data marts. So we have an option here to document all the KPIs, all the structures, the entities within the Click Data Catalog for rapid data provisioning. Last but not least, a pre-built template app that helps you to quickly ramp up a, let's say, an application like I showed to you with order to cash. So in the next slide, a more detailed view of the solution contains extractor queues for a different business environments, for different types of sales orders, billing documents, especially here in the order to cash as an example, sales order status, billing, accounts receivables, etc. The replication tasks are pre-built. They help you to understand what's coming in terms of data. Just take it, copy it into a replicate, and run them. Pre-built compose model means the analytic environment that helps you to understand your business is pre-built. It comes with a model for data warehouse and various data marts. It provides information for sales order management, shipment distribution, billing, and accounts receivables. I already mentioned catalog. So the catalog is mainly there in order to understand which KPIs and key metrics we are providing. It's also called a documented KPI catalog. So finally, I said in the beginning, we provide an open metadata framework, an open metadata and schema framework. So this addresses not only the availability of those kind of technical environments for Qlik customers. No, we are open also for customers using Power BI or any of the other analytic tools who want to consume analytics and key measures and KPIs. So we have some, when it comes to the Qlik analytic front end, we have some specialties like ready for alerting. But as I said, it's an open framework available for other analytic tools than a Qlik. So let's have a look into what's available right now. So available right now is the order to cash package. We come out in April with a sub procurement to pay package, and finance and inventory are in progress. I estimate the availability by end of H1 2021. So now let's have a look into the product itself. So I spoke about the first pre-built package. It's a real-time data delivery package, which is predefined. It deals with full and delta load enabled standard extractors in the SAP system. So for those people who are not so familiar with these terms, so the SAP extractors are a pre-built functionality existing in every SAP system that can be activated and they can be registered for the usage in Replicate. So we support the availability or the availability of those standard extractors within our replication environment. So for those who are a bit more familiar with those extractors are providing pre-built extraction logic. They pre-built extraction logic contains delta capable and non-delta capable extractors. So let's have a look at an example. What is a delta enabled extractor? So here you see a list of all the pre-built packaged supports for delta enabled extractors. So for example, if you extract sales orders and you want to recognize the deltas, if you want to process the deltas during the day, you can leverage, for example, all those standard extractors existing in an SAP system. But also what we provide is full load support for the non-delta capable extractors. We support full load for currency, exchange rates. Currency conversion is a key package or a key component in the package. And we provide, especially for Qlik users, a certain way how to provide various languages for the front end. So you can actually have a front end in English, German, or French as you like it. So let's come to the compose part, which is probably the most important part of this entire infrastructure. So compose is the data warehouse administration tool. Here you create, first of all, your data warehouse model. So when we say rapid implementation, this is just a metadata frame. So you get this model, just copy it in, install compose, copy it in, run your predefined extraction processes in Replicate, and you will receive the data on the landing zone in this specific case in Synapse. So we support Synapse fully as the ground and the foundation for this data warehouse solution. So this data warehouse is able to extend. It's expandable, for example, by an easy way of historization. So just if you want to historize a material, or if you want to historize a customer, so let's say I would like to historize material, just go and take one of these pre-built attributes and change it to type 2. And you can implement very easily a fully historized data warehouse solution. So the historization then moves exactly into the data mart. So the data warehouse model is one key piece of this infrastructure. The second key piece is the entire management of the ETL processes. So you can benefit from a full load ETL set. You can benefit of all the text tables. When you look into the text tables, for example, take material, we provide 4 different languages out of the box for any description you have within in this model. We have a full enabled CDC enabled, let's say, processing set. So this processing set is responsible for all the CDC, all the real-time streams which are coming out of the SAP system. We have a specialty here for more complex KPIs and measures, which we call key figures. Then we have the sub-currency module, which helps us to deal with 3 different currencies. So if you have a specific sales organization in your company that has a local currency, a group currency, or a corporate currency, so this is standard or could be standard in an SAP implementation, we are supporting this. So this entire framework is pre-built. Just install it and run it and load your data warehouse. In the final step, we are providing 2 different data marts. So this is a best practice data mart containing several line item oriented fact tables, but also aggregated fact tables that come with a pre-built environment. Pre-built means when you go into this into the description, you see all these pre-built metrics we are providing in the aggregation data mart. So just install that, create these SQL statements, create these processes, and run and load your data mart with data. So where the data are landing is defined by the data mart actually. So the data mart contains all the information, it contains all the attributes, it contains all the metrics, and it's available as a schema on a Synapse database. So when we say open metadata schema, so this pure data mart schemata are available to import in ClickSense, or to import, of course, in Power BI or any other ETL tool. Just import the schema, reverse engineer it, and build your own entire metadata layer to build the reports and specific, let's say, additional information. What you get with Click is you get the full enable application for order to cash. So order to cash addresses several steps. Order to cash step 1 would be creating a sales order. From the sales order, you create the pickings, you create the deliveries, you create the billings, and finally you get information about the accounts receivables. This entire process is actually containing several data sheets which are pre-built in this dashboard. So just take this data, import it into your Click environment, and ready to run. So the configuration is pre-built. The only thing you have to do is adapt the connectivity and let this run. So it comes with pre-built, let's say, pillars. It shows you orders, fulfillment, billing, and receivables. So when I go back, we can go deeper into this environment. So let's say we would like to have another sheet here and look into order analysis, fulfillment analysis, billing analysis. One of the most important things is order efficiency. So we have information, we provide information about key metrics like days order to ship, days ship to bill, days bill to paid, and days sales outstanding. So days sales outstanding is one of the most important information in a sales order process, because it tells you, it gives you the information how long it takes from the issue of a sales order until a payment comes in, and it documents the efficiency of your entire sales order process. So this is a short overview on what we are understanding with a pre-built solution, pre-packaged solution for order to cash on a Synapse environment. Now, I would like to answer some questions if you want.
Yeah, currently until we have some, Robert, I just wanted to jump in quickly. So definitely we put a focus here on SAP for various reasons, right? It's highly complex. Companies running SAP environments really do struggle a lot, right? Putting the data out and especially combining them with some other data sources.
Yeah.
But maybe just to put in a few words, what you showed here is not strictly doable with SAP as a data source, right? You do cover whole set of the various data sources and targets.
Exactly. So when we look at the business, the business defines the prerequisites, the pre-requirements for everything we do, and we are specialized on delivering real-time information. And real-time information is not only available from SAP, but it's also available from for example, sources like any databases where you run your applications on top. It's available for mainframes, and it's available for Salesforce. So we can integrate several types of sources into one, let's say, data warehouse solution. And what I just introduced with rapid accelerators for SAP is just an example. It's just a pre-built app, an entire infrastructure, let's say, composition for SAP. Of course, we can support additional sources. We can change the modeling. We can adapt the model. For example, a good use case would be the integration of Salesforce.com when it comes to customer relationship management, or SAP CRM when we are trying to understand how, let's say, give me an example, how orders are being generated, how the leads are turned into orders, how your entire lead management looks like. So these are examples of what we are doing within those applications.
Okay. Great. Yeah, you have something to continue, or we are off the questions now?
No, we can answer questions.
Okay, so I actually have two more. One is I've asked it on a panel. What's your experience up until now for the cloud movements for data warehouses or data lakes? So how often are they, or on-prem targets are still in a majority of the cases? Just from your experience, right? Robert, you heard me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Was it a question for me?
Yeah. For you. Sorry.
Okay. Can you
Sure.
repeat this?
I said it was a similar question that I asked on a panel. So, how do you see the situation of these data warehouses and data lakes moving to a cloud? Right?
Okay.
Is it common or not yet?
It's absolutely common. So, so a typical conversation with customers is starting with a question: how can we move a SAP business environment, business warehouse environment into the cloud? So imagine a customer has done a lot of investment into business warehouse implementations. And when I say business warehouse, I mean SAP business warehouse. But they see and have the need of having a bit more flexibility in terms of in terms of, let's say, adaptations for peaks in the business. So when we look at retailers, for example, they have more the Christmas season or the Easter season. These are peaks where customers need more technical capabilities to scale, and especially the cloud vendors like Microsoft or Snowflake or all the others, they provide these capabilities. But how can we support those customers on their way into the cloud? So we don't want to force the customer to just invent everything from scratch. Now, this is exactly why we are providing these pre-built accelerator packages in order to help them jump-starting a solution with less effort and high efficiency. And when you go deeper into the business process of, for example, order to cash or procure to pay, you will find a lot of metrics. You will find a lot of information there, which also exists in a typical business warehouse implementation. So it's nothing completely new, but it's running on a total different technical environment.
Okay, I see. And I'm not sure if it's a comment or a question. It says Synapse is in the Azure cloud.
Yep.
Yes, it is, right? Absolutely. And Maurizio is asking why there's no fourth option in our question. Yeah, sadly we forgot it, but please feel free to pick something that's a bit similar to it. And maybe just to wrap it up with the last question, Robert, if you don't have any extra content here, and that is maybe just some most typical use cases for the CDC. You know, is it only manufacturing, or there are some other areas where you see it?
Absolutely. There are typical, let's say, typical use cases which shout for and scream for CDC. So we all know, everybody who uses SAP and manages SAP, maybe as a user or in a let's say sub basis team, or as a user in the business, we all know that SAP is not really defined for extraction. So if you have massive extraction processes running, they are really impacting the performance of the systems. So this is exactly the reason why we technically offer alternatives. And the second point and topic is definitely the different requirements today in comparison to maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So the tendency is going towards real time in many businesses, and typical use cases are really in manufacturing, in shop flooring, in logistics, in retailers. So these are typical use cases where customers looking for change data capture solutions would help them to get newer information, up-to-date information, first of all, but also reduce the load of the system as we are offering the possibility to not read from the database, but from the database log. So this is an external, not database related process, and it impacts a basic system with not more than let's say 3 to 5%, and customers deliver performance metrics to us. So typically when we are in a POC phase, we are tested. So they send their troops of, let's say, DBAs, network administrators, in order to precisely measure what we are doing. Because when we are saying CDC, change data capture, brings a value to you, they would like to see this, and they like to measure this, and this is what we deliver. We deliver this perfect, let's say, solution for doing exactly those, meeting those technical requirements.
Okay, I mean, these were some great inputs. I'm so sad it's happening in the last moments of our event, so it's probably, you know, concentration going down for everyone. But you know, as far as I understood you, it's little or no impact into a database while extracting, because it's on a change data capture basis, so reading from logs, right? And that's definitely something that we can heavily stress out during our POCs, if that's one of the customers' concern. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
great.
Absolutely.
That's great. Okay, Robert, we don't have any more questions, so I don't know if you have any content left or slides, or that's it, so we can then wrap it up.
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine there are tons of slides I could show here. So the easiest, let's say, the best way to start those things is having a conversation with us, explaining us the use case, and we will we will judge this use case, and we give you the appropriate information what would be the best steps forward. So this is not when customers change their infrastructure from a more, let's say, ETL tool based batch-oriented way of data extraction into real time. That makes a few things necessary, technical-wise, process-wise. But we help those customers who are interested to make these steps with us, with technical expertise on this, and we get a lot of very, very good feedback for that.
Okay, that's great input. And as I said, really, I think we're bringing game changer into our market. After these cooperation is set it up, we're also investing heavily as a partner. To be able to cover all of those topics. So. Yeah, thanks a lot, Robert, once again for the support and for the content. I really find it amazing. Now, since we are 5 minutes early, that's great because I'm going to end it up just with one slide as promised. And that one slide, it's, the topic is what's hot now and what's ahead in BI and analytics, but I didn't prepare some high level look to a future for you. I wanted to be a little more operational. So first of all, what's new in the market? There are a couple of topics that I'd like to mention, starting from the middle, actually. Microsoft Ignite, obviously, annual conference ended up in first few days of March, but you still have a lot of content available on demand, right? So please jump there, take a look. Second one is Microsoft Connected e-commerce. That's an event, short one, happening on 30th of March, where actually also we as a BE-terna prepared some really, really interesting content showing how can we support e-commerce businesses end-to-end with a couple of use cases. First one being the inventory optimization that you heard about today, right? The second one being smart customer profiling, so really doing behavioral targeting on your customers. And the third one being augmented reality application to allow you, to show, for example, shoes in your table at home or on your feet, and giving some real life experience of this shopping. And the last one is Click World. It's Click's annual conference coming up in May. You're definitely going to receive some communication on that topic from our side, but just for you to mark the calendars in first half of May. And then in BE-terna, I mentioned one part, and that is that actually in Q2 and Q3, we're going to refresh our communication on two of our probably most mature products that I think we target many industries with it. One is sales forecasting and inventory optimization using machine learning algorithms. And the second one is actually financial controlling and management reporting, right? So everything from P&L, cost allocation, cash flow, planning support, consolidation, and topics like that. Of course, bringing it to management level, like mobile reporting or automatic PowerPoints creation and things like that. And actually, ended up, the third question would be what's new at your place? I would just like to say two words here, and that is, don't bother yourselves too much with some high-level trends. Make sure you realize what are the issues in your company. Maybe somewhere our panelists are going to struggle with, I don't know, data quality management. Someone else is going to struggle with mobile reporting or collaborative reporting if they already have a couple of hundreds of users on a BI tool. And on the other hand side, someone is going to struggle with first applications rolling out and with enabling customers, right? And that's the whole reason behind this event, why we try to organize it, really end to end, from some simple use cases, then automating a couple of processes, then some really, really complex data integration, and then again, pure business use cases like inventory optimizations, where we actually speak more or less only about business impact, right? So, focus on yourself, see where you're currently at. Of course, we can help you defining where you're currently at in our joint discussions, and then it's going to be easier for you and for us to realize what would be a next step actually from where you're currently standing at, right? So that's actually it from my side. I'm now going to turn off the share screen and actually share just a couple of more words with you, and that is, our official part of the event is over. Thank you very much for all the focus, and I hope you have quite a few questions to continue discussion with us. What we have now prepared for you is first 15 minutes break for those who are going to continue staying with us. So to come back where I was, in 15 minutes, what we prepared is a couple of hands-on workshops, right? Obviously not for every one of you, but just for those who want to do something hands-on. So those are hands-on workshops for Zebra BI and TrueChart. Zebra BI part is going to be run for our Power BI users, and TrueChart workshop is going to be run for our Click users. Now, obviously, some of you who wanted to attend already registered. If now you just decided you want to join us, my colleague Nevena is going to drop the links and the links on how to join it. Thanks, Maurizio. The links on how to join it. So please, it's really going to be hands-on, but you don't need to do it hands-on. You can forward it to some of your colleagues who are maybe more operational, or you can, of course, just join in and take a look how the demo will look like. Long story short, the topic is really, tier 1 visualization of the data and a support to all the controlling departments. In terms of these IBCS standards, which are more or less communication standards in controlling world Europe-wide, right? So that would be it from my side. We're going to end the meeting soon. As promised, we're going to cut the recordings and send them to you so you can view them on demand and share with your colleagues. So we're going to cancel this call now. And for those of you who want to continue joining with us, we'll see you in one of those new rooms in roughly 15 minutes. So thanks a lot once again, and hope we're going to continue discussing various topics. Have a nice day. Bye.